There are periods when nothing significant happens. Yet there are weeks that seem to encompass decades. We are all living in such times, where significant events and turning points are unfolding, shaping centuries to come. Ukraine faces an uncertain future, especially as it struggles to secure decisive support from the West to achieve victory in its conflict with Russia. Adding to this complexity is the looming threat of Donald Trump potentially returning to the White House this January, with a promise to end the conflict at any cost. However, it seems unlikely, if not impossible, for Trump to achieve this. This situation has led more Western politicians to consider concessions to Russia, such as re-evaluating Ukraine's new borders, ensuring Russian security, hearing President Putin's perspectives, and even returning territories that Russia claims historically belong to them. These measures are seen as a way to end this prolonged exhaustion. President Zelensky is enduring weeks that feel like decades. In a recent annual press conference, President Putin declared that Russia is open to granting asylum to anyone, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. This statement implies Putin's belief that Zelensky might leave Ukraine if the situation worsens. Russia seems confident that as circumstances deteriorate, there will be fewer Ukrainians willing to fight. When this happens, Zelensky may flee abroad, similar to previous Western-backed leaders in other nations. This is the view expressed by the Russian president. The current conflict has reached a critical juncture. Many are asking, if Ukraine loses, what will happen to the comedian-turned-president? But first, we must define what losing means for Ukraine. Defeat can be defined by three major scenarios. Russia claiming sovereignty over territories beyond Crimea and Donbas. This would allow Putin to declare victory to his domestic audience. The Ukrainian military weakening or its defensive lines collapsing. If the West retreats, Russia could advance further westward. Ukraine losing control of Kyiv through political assassination, direct military action, or both. Russia could seize the Ukrainian capital. Ukraine's current situation. Ukraine is going through perhaps the darkest period of the war. They are losing on the eastern battlefield while Russian forces continue their relentless advance. The Ukrainian military is weakened and needs time to rebuild and train new soldiers. However, a chaotic conscription system is causing significant social tension. A bleak winter looms with severe power outages. Russia has destroyed at least half of Ukraine's power. Western attitudes. The West does not want Ukraine to fail, but is also unprepared to help it achieve decisive victory. Their support has been sporadic and indecisive. The prospect of a total Ukraine potential scenarios. A complete capitulation of Ukraine is unimaginable. However, losing on the battlefield does not equate to collapse. Kyiv could continue resistance in the form of guerrilla warfare. The West lacks the resolve to end the war in a way that benefits Ukraine, leading to a prolonged, unresolved conflict. The role of the US. President-elect Donald Trump has pledged to restore direct negotiations between the two. Worst-case scenario for Zelensky. If the West turns its back or the US intervenes decisively, Zelensky could be ousted or forced to flee abroad. In the worst-case scenario, he might face arrest, trial, and sentencing. Ultimately,